Mtukufu Rais Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. That's how bulletins would start. I remember that happening back in the day. Every bulletin would start with something about the President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, whether he was at a church, whether he stopped over, greeted the people along the way from one place to another. And we have come a mighty long way. As a founding journalist at KTN, you were an anchor as well, and it's good to see that this is me in a few years, and you look good. Yes. So you were in an era where you'd have to start the bulletin with Moi, whether you liked it or not. But there's something that changed. What happened?
Yes, actually, it was my time at KBC. I started reading news from around 1984. And we didn't have teleprompters or an autocue, yes.
My colleague here behind the camera is wondering, he was in the newsroom before we were in the womb.
You imagine that. We've come a long way, so thank God for Moi.
KBC, yes.
And when you're looking at the camera, you only have papers because you didn't have that modern technology, because every single story had to start with His Excellency. And actually, up to today, if you just told me where did President Moi go, the rest I can. His Excellency President Daniel Arap Moi today joined fellow worshippers at St. Andrew's Church in Nairobi. Speaking after the church service, he emphasized on the importance of water for the nation and for unity amongst the people. Amongst those who were present was Vice President George Saitoti, the Minister for this, Minister for that, Assistant Minister for this.
Such a template.
10 minutes of that. So the shift to, we were the founder reporters at KTN when it started in 1990. And we wanted to do things differently. Strangely enough, the person who helped in that revolution was himself the very same editor-in-chief we had at KBC, Hamani Gambi. He was our editor. And we said, we have to tell these stories differently. We have to find a way where the president merits his place on the running order of the news. And the way we did that, and remember these were the days of the campaign for multi-party democracy in the early 90s, was we'd do a very strong feature, maybe somewhere in Western, maybe some Bukusu circumcision ceremony, really good pictures, and run it as story number one, immediately followed by Moi, maybe he's gone to church, and would listen out. One night, any calls? Nothing. The next day, would do two features, story number 3, until when there were no complaints, you know, we pushed him down. Now he had to warrant his place, and it was a difficult thing to do. And then I remember attending a press conference. The late William Ole Ntimama was Minister for Local Government, and what he announced was a bombshell. I can't remember what the news was, but it was, as I was dashing out, he called me, "Hey, rudi hapa, listen, mzee, wachia mzee pale." You know, he was saying, "I know this is big news, but can you please make sure that I do not, you know, go above His Excellency." I told him, "No, this one, sir. This is the biggest news today." Yes. So the ministers themselves were worried when you lead with their news and Moi comes as number 2, that causes problems. Luckily for us, there were no mobile phones, so all the editor had to do was approve the running order. Yep, do this, yeah, Moi wake up on number 5, then he would disappear. So when the calls come in the newsroom, you're just a young, you say, you know, our editor's not around, is the editor, but where is he? We don't know where he's gone. So, and then the next day the editor would come, he would get those calls, and say, "Really? Is that what they did? No, but I left them." You know, he'd make some excuses. Yes. And it was just by stealth, pushing the boundaries slowly until, you know, Moi accepted that he had to make news to be in the news. Right.
And Caleb, there's stories of the president calling the editor in the newsroom. Were they did you get them? And like, what are your experiences in that?
There's only one time when he called the news desk, and I think he must have been bored or something. I picked up the phone, so he asked me who I was. He said, "Une kijana yangu anafanya kazi na gazeti ya ukabila." Ngambia ni mimi mzee. So
gazeti ya ukabila ilikuwa
Daily Nation. So I think he was just trying to find out what story we were running. But I recall when we were still on Tomba Street, he called in, because there's a story that he was trying to kill. There were comments made somewhere in Mohoroni by, I think Aloha Ringo, I can't remember exactly who it was. Then Mutegi Njau was... Yes.
Corruption and coffee.
And Mutegi politely told him, "We can't kill the story, sir. This is our job. We are doing a good job. Just so we are doing a good job to run the nation."
And nothing happened to him?
Nothing happened. What Moi would do is that the following day, he would condemn you in a public rally. He would call you vinyangariko wa magazeti.
So, gazeti ni ya kufunga nyama didn't just start the other day.
But wherever you went, wherever you walked, wherever you drank, because we used to, journalism and alcohol were synonymous. We were cousins, were first cousins.
Now we're in water, and look how far we come.
They were twins.
Identical twins. So wherever you went to drink, there were always 2 or 3 special branch officers watching over you.
And you knew there was special
Yes.
branch.
So there was constant harassment. But what we did, some of us, we turned it into a narrative. We called them our bodyguards. And hey, guys, give those bodyguards of ours some beer. No, give them soda, because beers, you don't want them drunk. Eh?
And some,
Yes.
some would talk to us in a friendly tone. Like we would leave the newsroom around 9, and we decide let's go and have a drink or watch a certain play at National Theatre. National Theatre was the United Nations for the journalists. Those from KBC, those from KT, rivals, that's where we used to centralize ourselves. Mm-hmm. So you release off the tension with the thespians, you laugh it off, yeah? Mm-hmm. And then after some time, because people operating on KBS, there were no borders. And
no Uber, definitely.
Yes, and we were not getting call-ons for the scribes, yeah? So we were depending on KBS, which was very efficient before it was killed later on. Mm. So the convergence at National Theatre was particular around certain time, everybody.
So therapy.
And yes, and departure is dictated by the bus timetable.
KBS, yes.
Yeah. So we'll have a mob walking from National Theatre, pick 1 or 2 other guys who had private meetings at Central Police opposite. There's a hotel there, and then Sunshik on Tomboy Avenue. And where are we going? We are going towards the Heathrow of Kenya Bus. That is Hilton for the Ngong Road people, Dagoretti area. Kibisu Kabatesi, Stine Njoroges, and myself, we are people of Langata, Nairobi West Langata route. Then you have Solomon Mogera, BBC. You have Whispers, Wahome Mutahi, the late Wahome Mutahi, Mike Ching Mureithi, Mado, the cartoonist, and many other colleagues, and people like music writers like Wagashamba. That route is Eastlands. So where do we meet? We depart from Hilton, one group, the next group at Gill House, Folangata, Nairobi West, and finally, the big city, Eastlands, is at Tusker, yeah, Tusker there. Now, Mark, believe me or not, from National Theatre, each one of us has got bodyguards that will make sure umeingia matatu yako. And another bodyguard will be waiting on your point of arrival.
Special branch officers.
Yeah,
who
yeah.
are basically
They want to
training.
listen to what you are saying.
And particularly who are you meeting? Who are you meeting in between?
That we could say that they're following us technologically, and that's why some people actually hide their cameras here and whatever. That the system or the deep state is watching, and if they're watching, thank you for tuning in.